when whippoorwill call, and evening is night, I hurry to my blue heaven.
G'day guys, welcome to my blue heaven. It's about an hour after the game. I'm here at the G. Yeah, look, I don't know how to feel really. I'll try to process, the game. I'd like to have another look at it, but just my initial thoughts are one of disappointment. You look at that scoreline, you think, well, we've pushed the reigning premier to 24 points, after trailing by something like 50 at one stage in the game. You probably take that, but you don't take a start like that. 5 goals, we coughed up 5 goals. We didn't learn from what happened last year, which is disappointing. We're on the back foot. Our skills are terrible. We took our eye off the ball. We panicked. We looked like, and there wasn't even a crowd here, so we just looked lost. Richmond scored easy goals, and it took a rocket at half time, really, or probably quarter time, to get ourselves back into the game. Hopefully we learn from that. I know that's what the coaching staff will be saying, that it's a learning process. We're not there. Richmond are a mighty fine football team. They play on instinct. They trust each other. They play team first football. And that was the difference between us and them tonight. We seem to rely too much on individuals, which is still a concern. Our disposal efficiency is still a concern, although it did improve throughout the game. But we continue to carry passengers, whereas Richmond, it's just an even contribution throughout the whole team. If you look at their major possession winner with 25 touches, and you go right down, every player has been able to contribute at some point throughout, where we had about half a dozen players tonight who really had no impact at all. Will Setterfield was really ordinary tonight. Gibbo didn't have a good game tonight. Paddy Dow continues to just struggle at this level, which is disappointing. An opportunity to kick a couple of goals. When you carry players like that who just don't, are able to make an impact at certain times of the game, it can be the difference. And you look at someone like Shai Bolton, who has 13 touches, and Rioli 12 touches. They kicked 6 goals between those two players, and you wouldn't look at both those players and thought they had, like, they were in everything, but they make an impact when it counts. And we're not quite there yet. There were positives. I thought the way we wanted to play, the way we moved the ball, particularly after quarter time, was quite impressive. Our run from half back, our ability to hit up the 45 and be really aggressive with our ball use, at times was really good, although some of our kicking was a little bit down. We no longer want to sort of bomb that kick to the wing, but our connection from the centre into the forward line is still something which is holding us back a little bit, although I thought we did hit up and lowered the eyes quite well after half time and got quite a few uncontested marks inside forward 50. The big disappointment tonight, though, I mentioned the disposal efficiency, was the tackle count. Fucking terrible. 52 tackles, Richmond 23. 23 tackles in a game of football. It didn't feel like that. Watching the game live here at the MCG, didn't it feel like that we only laid 23 tackles, but I was keeping an eye on it throughout the game. I've got the live stats here, and I was keeping an eye on it throughout the game, and noticed, I think at halftime we'd only laid 13 tackles, and it didn't improve after halftime. We had 9 individual players: Murphy, Simpson, Walsh, Fisher, Casbolt, Jones, Plowman, Gibbons and Silvani. So some of those are forwards. It doesn't matter where you are on the ground. It did not lay a tackle for the night. Every Richmond player laid a tackle. And that resulted in some really, really easy goals to the Tigers, and some really release out of the stoppage as well, where they were able just to get some clean ball and have a really open forward line to kick some easy goals. Individually, I'm going to mention 6 players tonight, who I thought the best players were, in no particular order. I'll start with Murphy. I thought Murphy really battled and got us into the game after half time. He ran 26 touches, 9 handball receives. I like that part of his game, and his ball use improved after quarter time. Thought he was really solid, although he didn't lay a tackle. He had the 5 clearances. SBS, that was a real find for us. I thought his ability to be able to be really calm in traffic and then hit up that short kick, which opened up the play for us, was really decisive. I thought that, to me, says that he could be a really, really important player for us across that half-back line. I'd be really worried now if I was Nick Newman. I thought Nick was really poor tonight, and it's not the first time that I've been critical of Nick Newman. And I reckon Tom Williamson would be breathing right down Nick Newman's neck in regards to that next sort of player that can play that sort of aggressive halfback role. And I thought Newman was really poor tonight. So SBS gets the tick to me. Great to see the Doc back, the way he was able to control that half-back line, get into open space, manipulate that +1 back in the back half. Thought his ball use was ordinary early, but got better and better as the game went on. He got a lot of hard hits, but we're no longer holding our breath with Doc, with his knee. He gets up every time, and I thought it was a really good captain's performance by Sam Doherty. Big game by Big Meat, Levi Casbolt. Started forward, had to go in the ruck when Cruiser went down, which is a big concern with Matthew Cruiser. Oh, geez, it's disappointing to see him go down, but, I thought Casbolt was just a real warrior in the ruck. Thought he held his own against, bigger opponents, Soldo, and then Nankervis. It really got us back into the game, I thought, with his aggression, and his ability to drift forward and be a dangerous forward option as well. So, as I mentioned in a previous episode, he becomes one of our most important players in the first half of this season if it continues to go on. I thought he was really good tonight. I liked the game of, obviously, Jack Martin, first game for the football club, wearing the number 21 jumper, worked his way into the game, and to see him come out after half-time and just be so aggressive. He's got a bit of mongrel about him, Jack Martin, but he does it in a sort of quiet way where nothing seems to faze him, and he's in the face of his opposition. But it's not just being silly. He actually hits the scoreboard and becomes a really dangerous player. That goal around the body, and he's finishing tonight, from 30, 40 metres out, was just, I think he missed a goal in the second quarter, which was disappointing, but then he nailed the 4 straight in the third quarter. It was a great first up performance. And obviously Paddy Cripps, I thought tonight, I didn't think he was probably our best player, but 31 disposals, 10 clearances, and 17 contested possessions. He just led from the front, didn't he? I thought, it was a typical Patrick Cripps performance. And the guy I'm probably most pleased with tonight was Jacob Wiedering. He's come of age in the last 18 months, Jacob, but tonight, Tom Lynch, he took him to the cleaners, I thought. It was a great tussle. Don't get me wrong, but his body work, there was one stage there where I thought they might have did the swap, the flip, and put Wiedering on Revolt because he was toweling Jones up. But they held their nerve, and Jones ended up, holding his own against Revolt in the end. But I thought, Jacob's game on Lynch was great. His body positioning, he was strong in the contest. He was really good tonight in that back half. I'm not happy with the 24-point loss. We're on the back foot now. Need to respond next week against the Doggies if it goes ahead. It's just hard now because what do? We don't have a VFL team to monitor the form of players at the lower level. Who's putting their hand up? We spoke to Dale Amos pre-game. I asked about Tom Williamson. He said he's in really hard training phase and he's, involved in match sim, and he was really close to play tonight. You've got Sam Philp. Obviously, Pitnet will come in, or Tom DeConning will come in and replace Cruiser. That looked like a pretty serious foot or ankle injury, which was really disappointing for him. There'll need to be some changes. We're not going to get Eddie Betts back, so we're going to have to try and, the small forward problem continues to be there for us, and we're not going to get Eddie back, so we're going to have to try and do something there. Jack was okay tonight. He did some nice things up forward. McGovern, he can work into that, and hopefully he's better for the run. But I don't know. I'm relatively pleased, but I'm not pleased. It's the first one over and done with. Blue Baggers, if you like these videos, please give us a like. Comment down below. What did you think of the game? Who was your best players? Did I get it right? Who's in the gun? Who would you bring in? Thought Cunningham. That's the other thing I wanted to mention. The fumbling by the same culprits. Will Setterfield, fumble. David Cunningham, fumble. They take their eye off the ball, and it's a confidence thing, and it's got to improve. Yeah, it's got to improve, because as soon as that fumble happens, they put the next player under pressure, and that's where Richmond were able to really sort of towel us up tonight, because I was so clean early when the game really needed to be won. So let's get a few things right. Connection inside forward 50, get that tackle count up, and just be a lot cleaner with the ball and improve those skills. That's a lot to work on, but there were some nice signs. I'll see you guys again after the Bulldogs game next week. See you later.